Comparing the engines, both still sit out in the back where God intended it. The standard GT3 is powered by a 4-liter flat 6 that pumps out 502 horsepower and 346 pound-feet of torque. The high revving engine can keep revving all the way up to 9,000 RPMs. For sharper throttle response, the power plant has 6 independent throttle bodies. I mean, I don't even know how that would work, and my day job is in computer science. To keep things lubricated well, a dry sump lubrication system makes sure engine parts stay working well when taking corners at high speed. The lubrication uses a total of 7 suction stations that get oil back to the external tank extremely quickly. The GT3 RS has essentially the same engine, but horsepower output increases to 518 horsepower. Most of that bump in power is due to new camshafts with a modified cam profile, a motorsport-inspired single throttle intake system, and a rigid valve train. It maintains the 6 independent throttle bodies like the standard GT3 with 1 for each cylinder. I guess each of those cylinders just couldn't share. The Porsche 911 GT3 comes standard with a special tuned GT3 7-speed PDK dual clutch transmission for lightning fast shifts. For those that want a more engaging driving experience, an optional 6-speed manual transmission is available. The 992 GT3 RS only comes with a track-focused 7-speed PDK transmission. And for the RS, it has a shorter gear ratio and takes advantage of air intakes in the underbody to make sure that the transmission can take the abuse it will get with repeated track use. And frequent track use is the correct use for the GT3 RS. With the engine and transmission working hand in hand, the GT3 is able to rocket from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.2 seconds with the PDK transmission. And all out, it can hit a top speed of 197 miles per hour. The 911 GT3 RS is able to go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in a slightly quicker 3 seconds flat. When pushed, it can hit a top speed of 184 miles per hour. The lower top speed is due to the track-focused shorter gear ratios. Plus, the GT3 RS probably doesn't want to show off too much, as it'll already make other more expensive supercar owners cry when you pass them on the track. The suspension setup on the 911 GT3 features a dual wishbone front axle layout derived from the 911 GT3 RSR race car and adopted for road use. Steering is more direct in the new setup than in the previous GT3. The rear axle continues to use a multi-link design, but with more ball joints being used both in the front and the rear. The GT3 suspension shares 0 parts with the 992 Carrera. The GT3 RS takes all this and then kicks it up to an 11. The suspension setup is more aerodynamic than the standard GT3, using a teardrop design to help it work better with the massive amounts of airflow that go through the wheel arches. To help maintain balanced downforce, Porsche engineers have reduced pitch under braking. They accomplish this by lowering the lower ball joint of the lower front trailing arm and tuning the rear axle with modified spring rates. The driver assistance system and rear axle steering have a more dynamic setup. The GT3 RS has 3 standard modes: normal, sport, and track, to modify the ride setup. But it goes a step further, and you can adjust the setup of components individually. You just probably better know what you're doing if you attempt to do that. Among the multiple settings that you can change the rebound and compression dampening of the front and rear axle. The GT3 comes standard with GT-specific forged alloy wheels with a 20-inch diameter in the front and 21 inches in the back. The GT3 wheels are half an inch wider in the front and a full inch wider in the back than the previous GT3 models. Despite the size increase, they weigh 3.5 pounds less than the previous models. The GT3 wears ultra high performance summer tires that are 10 millimeters wider at both the front and the rear compared to the previous 911 GT3. At the front, the tires are 255 by 35 ZR20, and at the rear, they are 315 by 30 ZR21. The standard GT3 can also be upgraded to an ultra high performance street legal tire that was previously only available on the GT3 RS. Attempting to stop it all are cast iron discs measuring at 408 millimeters in diameter in the front and 380 millimeters in the rear. The GT3 can be upgraded to Porsche ceramic composite brakes, which measure at 410 millimeters in the front and 390 millimeters in the back. The 2023 Porsche 911 GT3 RS comes standard with forged light alloy center locking wheels and street legal ultra high performance tires measuring at 275 by 35 R at the front and 335 by 30 R21 at the rear. The standard brakes are similar to those on the GT3, but the piston diameters have been increased from 30 to 32 millimeters. The thickness of the disc have also been increased from 34 to 36 millimeters, just as with the GT3. The 2023 992 Gt3 Rs is available with Porsche ceramic composite brakes. With the 911 GT3, there are a ton of aero touches, but going with the touring package does remove some, such as the larger rear wing. In the front, the GT3 has a new front fascia with integrated cooling intakes, as well as an adjustable front spoiler lip and an adjustable front diffuser that can be set up in stages for track use. The side skirts are designed to optimize airflow around the wheels. Of course, the most visible aerodynamic change is the large rear wing that uses swan neck connections for support. It also features a large visible rear diffuser. The 911 GT3 Rs utilizes a large single-angled center radiator in the car's nose. This is positioned where the front is located on other 911 models, because this car is definitely not designed with any road trips in mind. This change allowed space to be freed up on the sides to integrate new active aerodynamic elements. Adjustable wing elements in the front and on the two-part rear wing, in combination with other aerodynamic improvements, provide more than 900 pounds of downforce at about 124 miles per hour, which helps keep the RS from flying off the track. That is 3 times the downforce that is managed by the previous 911 GT3 RS. At 177 miles per hour, the total downforce is 1,895 pounds. That is as if you put a Porsche 356A on top of the car at that speed. The RS is the first time that a drag reduction system is fitted in a production Porsche. The system helps achieve lower drag and higher speeds on straight sections of the track by allowing the wings to be flattened out at the push of a button, providing it is driven within a specific operating range. At high speed, when braking hard, the air brake function positions the wing elements at the front and rear to help slow you down by maximizing aerodynamic drag. The rear wing in the new GT3 RS has a similar swan neck support design, but is significantly larger in all dimensions from the wing of the previous RS. It is made up of a fixed main wing and a hydraulically adjusted upper blade. This is the first time in a production Porsche that the upper edge of the rear wing sits higher than the roof. The rear diffuser is a modified version of what is used in the normal 911 GT3. The RS is closer to a race car that is road legal than a road car for the track. Of course, it costs to be cool, and the standard GT3 has a starting MSRP of $169,700, and that doesn't include the delivery and handling charge or the sometimes very significant dealer markup. The standard GT3 is already available for sale. The 2023 Porsche 911 GT3 RS is expected to arrive in the US by spring of 2023. The starting MSRP is $223,800, and again, that doesn't include the delivery and handling charges or the large dealer markup. So if you want one, make sure you have significantly more cash available. If you want a new GT3 and will only be having the occasional track day, along with some spirited driving on a back road, then the standard GT3 is the one to get. I personally like the GT3 with the touring package for its understated styling, which is perfect for a curvy back road. However, if you plan to track your car often, then the GT3 RS is the best choice. The new GT3 RS is simply the ultimate race car for the road. And if you do buy a new GT3 RS, make sure to take it to the track often, as it's just a shame when these cars end up sitting in someone's garage instead of being used as intended. The thing is, not everyone has new 911 GT3 money, but there may be an opportunity to get into the 997 market for a reasonable price. So check out this video to see if the 997 market is heading for a correction.